First tonight, the homeowners in a fight to remove cladding, which they say is stopping them selling their flats. It is 4 years since the devastating fire at Grenfell tower block in London shone a spotlight on the safety of some types of building materials, specifically cladding, which is attached to the outside of some high-rise properties. The government promised to pay for the most risky products to be changed, but it seems other types are now being considered a problem, and that is affecting mortgages and sales. Sam Reid has the story.
Sally moved to her flat to help her husband, but when he died 3 years ago, she decided she needed to move. But she says she's now struggling to sell and has been told it's because of the wood on the side of the building.
I feel trapped, totally trapped. Cannot sell because we haven't got this fire certificate.
The Vision block in Milton Keynes is more than a decade old. It does not have the type of cladding used on Grenfell Tower, but wood used means it doesn't meet the criteria for new higher fire safety ratings, which appear on certificates that some mortgage lenders ask for.
Well, I had a lot of response, people wanting to buy it, but then I say they've all fallen through. So at the moment it's just stalemate. We're all living in flats here that are worth nothing until we get this fire certificate through. And then I think it will sell very quickly.
Elsewhere in the block, Adam has a one-bed flat. He wanted to move last year when he had to start working from home, but again says he struggled to sell.
The timber balconies on every apartment needs to be replaced. They were built with the building in 2009 and it was considered safe when that was designed and built and assessed, and people have lived ever since. I understand since the government's regulation change in January 2020, they are now considered unsafe, meaning most mortgage lenders will not lend on a property until it has a safer rating from an EWS1 form. At the moment, the biggest question is who will pay for the works and the amount of time it will take.
The company responsible for the block is Y&Y Management. They say they want to get the work done and have applied to a government fund for financial support, but say the process is too slow. They said, "We are growing increasingly frustrated by the lack of information shared by the government, who are the bottleneck in resolving this crisis. The longer the government delays the release of these funds, the greater the chance of irreparable damage to the UK housing market." For its part, the government says it's building owners who are responsible for making sure their buildings are safe. It says it's working with those who've applied for funding to progress applications as quickly as possible. It says it's fully funding the replacement of cladding on the most high-risk buildings, and it's put aside £5 billion. But residents like Sally are worried they're going to be left with a big bill.
Well, I'm hoping the government are going to pay for it. I certainly can't. I live on a pension now.
Everyone would agree with the aim of high fire safety standards, but how they're introduced and who pays is not easy. Well, those issues not just at that block in Milton Keynes. I've come up the road to Cambridge and look at this place. It was only finished 5 years ago. It's much smaller, but residents say they're facing similar issues, that you can't see much wood on this side of the building. There is some around the balconies, but on the other side there is a bit more wood cladding. And what residents say is they can't get the relevant fire certificate, which some mortgage lenders, therefore, they're worried won't give the mortgages to people who might want to buy properties here. Now, we asked the developer, Crest Nicholson, about this, and they told us when this place was developed, all legal requirements were met. They told us the management company have since carried out a review, and they say the first report has come, but they're waiting for more information, and the management company understand this needs to be done as soon as possible. So that's their view, but what about residents? One of those is Chris, and Chris, this sounds quite a frustrating situation.
Yeah, it is a frustrating situation, Sam. It's we're unable to sell very easily, and we're also struggling to remortgage at the moment. And it just seems a lot of the parties involved in this years-long process are just not really incentivized to get it solved.
So the government says for smaller buildings like this, less than 18 metres high, there will be a finance package, which means residents won't have to pay back more than £50 a month. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems arbitrary to some extent to decide some people pay based on the height of their building and other people don't, and also what the effect will be on reselling and how that'll impact a new buyer potentially.
Chris, thank you very much. Now, it is worth remembering here that this isn't some kind of mandatory certificate required by law that is stopping sales by law. What's happening here is mortgage lenders, some of them, are choosing to ask for this certificate, and that's what residents say is causing the frustration. Janine.
Thank you, Sam.